And thank you for choosing Graps TV and welcome to our latest show I call WrestleCenter. This is where I'm going to be doing my news, my highlights, some interviews. Mainly, we're going to do our review shows through here and everything else. And I figured I'd kick it off tonight with a Revolution, AEW Revolution. Once again, Tony Khan has brought us a pay-per-view like only Tony Khan can do. Revolution has a lot of build, a lot of story to it. There's a lot going on here. And this actually may be one of the pay-per-views of the year. It's definitely going to be in the running. If everything hits the way I think it's going to hit, I think it's going to hit. I think it's going to be a show stealer for the rest of the year. I think every other pay-per-view, PLE, you name it, put an alphabet on it. It doesn't matter. I think this is going to be the benchmark for the rest of the year. Tony's laying it all out. This is what we're going to get for 2025. And personally, with all due respect to everybody else out there and for all the dissenting opinions and for all the tribalism and for everything that goes on in the internet wrestling community, I think this is going to be the benchmark for everybody. All promotions, all the majors, everything out there. Revolution is stacked and packed and ready to attack everything. All the norms, everything you think is good. This is going to be better. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. AEW Revolution is set to satisfy, provide, bring everything out that Tony Khan is capable of doing with the book. So without any further ado, I'm going to get into this card here because it may take a couple of minutes to get through it. We will get through it. This is my live or not so live prediction show for AEW Revolution coming to us from Los Angeles on Sunday, March the 9th. You can catch the pre-show at 6 p.m. The main show is going to kick off at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So without any further ado, in no particular order, I'm looking at the match card here. I'm just going to call them off in order, bottom to top. And let's see what we've got here. Opening up here for me, we're going to have the Hurt Syndicate versus the Outrunners. Now, this is my sleeper match of the night for a lot of reasons. And one of the things that I always talk about a lot is, yes, the Outrunners are a fantastic team. Yes, the Outrunners have gotten over. This match is going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be an absolute squash over in 5 to 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes, or we're going to get about a 15 to 20 minute match. And at that point in time, it does look like, with the way the booking's going and the way everything's pointing, that we could actually see an upset. And the Outrunners actually win the World Tag Team Championship. Now, if you picked your jaw up off the floor, I have reasons for that. Number one, if you watch the booking, you watch the way it's been played out so far, they got shoehorned in front of Brian Cage and Lance Archer. And they picked up a fluke win. It was a fluke win. It was an upset there. They could be the upset champions of the year. And as we all know, with the Acclaim, Tony never has a problem pulling the trigger on a nostalgia act. So for that reason, I do believe that it's in my heart of hearts right now, I'm feeling like the Outrunners will actually upset the Hurt Syndicate and win the Tag Team Championship. Now, do I think the Hurt Syndicate will get it back pretty quickly? You bet. But for this pay-per-view and for shock value, I do believe the Outrunners are actually going to go over in this thing. Because like I said, it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be an outright squash, which I don't see happening, or it's going to go minutes, and the Outrunners are going to pull this thing out somehow. It's going to be a fluke. If they win, it's going to be a fluke. There's not even a question to that. But I still believe in my heart of hearts that there is a strong possibility that come Monday morning, we may be looking at the Outrunners as your new AEW World Tag Team Champions. And from that point on, I'm looking at Ricochet versus Swerve Strickland. Now, this has a lot of build to it. And there's a lot of moving parts in here. We have Prince Nana. We have the robe. We have the scissors. We have a lot of weapons being used just randomly. So for that reason and that reason alone, Tony Khan, to get Ricochet to actually take the match, because he had already beaten Swerve Strickland, he threw a potential in there. Actually, not a potential. He made this into a #1 contenders match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, and that's what drew Ricochet back into this match. So with that said, and the fact that they actually pulled a win off on Wednesday on Dynamite, I really have a strong suspicion and a very strong feeling here that Ricochet is going to go over Swerve Strickland, thus creating more drama for Swerve Strickland on his path to the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Also, in this, I do believe Prince Nana dumps Swerve Strickland and goes with Ricochet. And the two go off like, hey, this was planned weeks ago, and you didn't see it coming, homie. I can see that happening. I can see Ricochet right now is the best heel in all of professional wrestling. I'm putting him over Mox. Mox is a great heel in his own sense for what he's working with, but for just a general somebody you really, really, really love to hate, from the way he dresses, from the way he looks, to the hat, to the ha-ha, all of that. Ricochet going over Swerve Strickland, Prince Nana leaving Swerve Strickland because Prince Nana told him, if you don't win, I don't know how much longer we can go along with this. So Prince Nana leaving Swerve Strickland for Ricochet. It's a real possibility. It could really happen, and I'm feeling strongly that that's how we're going to get the conclusion there. Now, bonus points for this match if we actually get Samantha Irvin in there for the assist. A lot of people are speculating on it. I, too, am speculating on it because, you know, when the carrot's dangled out there in front of you, you've got to include it. You can't just go, nah, this ain't going to happen. Very real possibility that at the end of the night there, you're going to have Ricochet, Prince Nana, and Samantha Irvin walking up the ramp celebrating Ricochet's ascension to the #1 contendership for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Mercedes Moné versus Momo Watanabe. Mercedes Moné, Momo Watanabe. This would be a second installment on their half. It was a great match the last time. It's going to be a great match this time. I do not see Mercedes Moné losing to Momo Watanabe. And I'm going to go one step further on this one here. I do not see Mercedes Moné losing the TBS title until sometime in October. Everybody keeps saying this is the way it needs to go. Yes, not disagreeing with you. But there's a bigger thing at stake here, and I do believe Tony's going to stick with it for the long haul. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll be the first person to admit it. I don't see Mercedes Moné losing that TBS title anytime soon before October. So it's my prediction that Mercedes Moné goes over Momo Watanabe. I feel like this match is going to get 20 minutes. I hope it gets 20 minutes. I really, really hope it gets 25 minutes because it's high time Mercedes Moné got a long match in the middle of a pay-per-view and scored out good with Momo Watanabe. Plus, they've got good chemistry. This is going to be a banger match all the way across the board. But when the bell rings after the 3 count, Mercedes Moné, still your TBS champion. Momo Watanabe thwarted yet again. Mercedes Moné turns away yet another opponent at AEW Revolution. Hangman Adam Page. Maxwell James Friedman. This is my sleeper stealer match of the night. Right now, I'm about at a 7 on my investment rating on this show, on this particular match. MJF is cutting promos that MJF has not cut since I've been watching AEW. I came in early last year. So I've got about a year's time under my belt as an AEW fan. And in that time, now I'm going back and watching older matches and so on and so forth. But I do not see Hangman Adam Page in this match going over, except that it's Hangman Adam Page. And also, Hangman Adam Page has been doing some of his best work in this feud. It's a hard call, but at the end of the day, Hangman Adam Page goes over MJF as MJF starts heading down towards the TNT title picture. And I think this is going to be the fuel to get the MJF everybody tells me MJF is. So my prediction in this match here, when the bell rings, Hangman Adam Page's arm is raised after the 1, 2, 3. And honestly, I don't even think it's going to go that. I think Hangman Adam Page wins in a submission. I'm calling that right here, submission win. Hangman Adam Page. Could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll be the first person to say it. I do know Hangman Adam Page goes over MJF. Still, though, MJF doing the best work I've seen since I've been a regular watcher of AEW. So there's something about the chemistry there that just makes this thing work. That brings me to Kazuchika Okada versus Brody King. Brody King is at home in Los Angeles in front of the hometown crowd. Kazuchika Okada, the best tournament wrestler alive. As a result, he is the AEW Continental Champion. Now, here's where it gets murky. Kazuchika Okada has a lot of other avenues to go down. Brody King has yet to taste AEW singles gold. In Los Angeles, without a shadow of a doubt, in about a 15-minute match, because you know these things can't go longer than 20 minutes by rules. In about 15 minutes, Brody King finds a gear, goes completely over, goes berserk, puts away Kazuchika Okada, 1, 2, 3, hand raised. Brody King is your new AEW Continental Champion. Not to be outdone, Konosuke Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. This is my sleeper match of the year. This one has match of the year implications attached to it. Konosuke Takeshita, Kenny Omega, once again, awesome video spots, awesome everything. They have put some of the best packages together for this match. While I do believe it's going to go at least 23 minutes, without a shadow of a doubt, I do believe we are entering the era of Omega. As Kenny Omega gets his hand raised, your new AEW International Champion, Kenny Omega, in a barn burner. This, like I said, has match of the year capability. It has match of the year probability. But at the end of the day, Kenny Omega goes over 1, 2, 3, your new international champion. And with enough bad blood to fill a small country, Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay, steel cage match, what we would refer to as the rubber match in their pay-per-view career. Each has one win over the other. This is going to be the brawl to settle it all. This is going to be brutal. This is going to be bloody. There is not going to be a question of whether we're going to get crimson masks on both. This is going to be one of the most violent matches AEW has ever produced, and I'm here for it. The violence alone in this one is probably going to trigger a lot of people. Just be aware. Both of these gentlemen can bleed, like to bleed, don't mind bleeding. They're going to leave it all in the ring. And like I said, this is going to be the brawl to settle it all. But I do believe at the end of the night, when it's all said and done, Will Ospreay goes over Kyle Fletcher for the rubber match win to set off yet another feud with the Don Callis family, because Kenny Omega obviously needs things to do while everybody else is going for the AEW World title. While I do believe personally that this should be the main event of AEW Revolution, I have been told it's going to be Jon Moxley and Cope. So with that said, yet another rubber match. Timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May. At All In, Mariah May whipped Toni Storm's ass. It was not even close. I got to say that. I loved the match. But as far as preparation, performance, Mariah May came out on top in convincing fashion. Not to be outdone, AEW Grand Slam Australia saw Timeless Toni Storm put on an absolute clinic to regain the AEW Women's Championship, which led Mariah May down a deadly spiral that ended and culminated into a vicious attack on AEW Collision, where she declared that she wanted a Hollywood ending. So, in Los Angeles, on March the 9th, if this is not the main event, which I'm told it's not, this should be the prequel to the main event. Timeless Toni Storm, Mariah May, Hollywood ending, falls count anywhere, nothing is off limits, no disqualification. You can only win by pinfall or submission. I'm expecting this fight to go all over the building, in the streets, in the pub across the street. I'm expecting a lot of blood in this. Now, I'm not expecting Crimson Mask in this one. But the level of violence these two women are capable of putting together, beyond a shadow of a doubt, will make this one also a Match of the Year candidate. And I do believe that this solidifies Toni Storm as our Women's Wrestler of the Year, and it's not even close. Toni Storm comes out victorious over Mariah May. No Crimson Mask there, but this one is definitely going to be a barn burner. And your AEW Revolution main event, Jon Moxley, Adam Copeland, a.k.a. Cope, they're going to fight it out. As you know, Adam Copeland, Cope, if you will, has systematically destroyed the Death Riders. He has incapacitated every single Death Rider, with the exception of Wheeler Yuta. Willow took care of Marina Shafir. There is no help for Jon Moxley in this. Jon Moxley goes at it alone. We have a lot of actual extras in the middle of all this that we need to talk about. But at the end of the day, when the dust settles, Jon Moxley loses to Cope. Cope's hand is raised 1, 2, 3. He wins the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Christian Cage still has a contract hanging out there. He does. A lot of people are speculating, myself as well, that Christian Cage steps up, cashes in that contract. But here's where I differ from everybody else. Christian Cage loses to Cope. Cope finds a way. And that way is going to be in the form of Jay White and Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta will remember that respect he got at AEW Dynamite here this past Wednesday, and he will step up and help his now new friend, Cope. Jay White will help Cope. Everybody will just cope. I'm kidding. That's a pun. But in reality, I think Christian Cage cashes in, does not win. This will lead to a Jay White Christian Cage feud that will culminate in a match. Jay White will win, and Cope will face Jay White at Dynasty. That's how I see this coming together. Now, once again, I could be wrong. I've made some pretty bold predictions in my time. They've come out right. This is yet another bold prediction. And this also focuses Wheeler Yuta and points him towards the TNT title. So Wheeler Yuta comes out of this looking good. Jay White comes out looking strong. Christian Cage still comes out looking strong because he's going to lose because of 2 interferences. So he doesn't look any weaker coming out of this. But Cope gets his hand raised twice in Los Angeles at AEW Revolution. So, with that being said, those are my predictions for AEW Revolution. Tell me what you thought in the comments. Laugh, share, give me your ideas. What do you think's going to happen here? But for right now, we're just going to get ready to watch yet another fantastic pay-per-view. Probably going to be the pay-per-view of the year because I don't see anything topping this. But there again, Tony Khan in the weeds, as he says. If this is Revolution, I can't wait for Dynasty, and I damn sure can't wait for All In. The rest of them are looking pretty stacked. This is setting a very high bar for 2025. And I think Tony Khan's going to be able to produce. I think he's going to deliver. This is just the start. Fasten your seatbelts. As somebody else said, enjoy the journey that Tony Khan is going to take us on here in 2025. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and slide on out of here. I want to thank you for watching our inaugural edition of WrestleCenter here. This has been our AEW Revolution prediction show. We'll be right back. We'll be here for the live watch along on the Sicko Show. And after that, we will give you an analysis of Revolution the following day. You will get it on Monday. But for right now, I want to thank you for taking the time. Have a good evening, and we'll see you at AEW Revolution. Take care.